Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole en mouvement. Hello again, St. Lucia, and welcome to the program Agriculture on the Move, Agricole en Mouvement, as they would say en Creole. My name, Phillip Sydney, your host. 2 months ago or more, I'm sure you have heard and you have listened to the television station. You'd realize that we have an aggressive campaign on a banana disease that is not here yet, it's just looming. And I hope to God it does not reach St. Lucia's soil. Because if that happens, we have a saying, Balfini Villansac. But this program is for you, the banana farmers out there, and of course the public, to understand this disease, how it operates. And with me is Mr. Cletus Alexander, who is a crop protection officer attached to the research division in the Department of Agriculture. Welcome to the program, Cletus.
Thank you, Mr. Sydney, for having me.
Good. Cletus, this disease, which is a Fusarium Wilt disease, is called tropical race 4 or TR4. I was told somewhere in the 50s, 60s, we had tropical race 1 and 2. Give us a little background as far as the family of these diseases are concerned.
Fusarium Oxysporum Cubense, known as TR4, is a soil-borne fungal disease. And it is a causative agent for Fusarium Wilt in the Musa species. Musa species include macambo, bananas, plantain. As you said, the disease is not new. In the 1950s, the disease was known as Panama disease. And at that time, the predominant banana variety for export was the Gros Michel variety. But what happened was that that variety was very susceptible to Fusarium. That was risk 1. It almost wiped out the Gros Michel variety, because if we drive around the place, you rarely see a Gros Michel plant. Mm-hmm. That disease had some serious impact on banana cultivation around the world. Now, that was risk 1. Now, risk 1 is affecting bananas. Risk 2 presently is affecting the macambo. Risk 3 does not affect banana species. And risk 4 is now affecting banana species, especially the Cavendish variety. That is the variety that we like. That is the variety that is most treated around the world. Mm-hmm. Now, the impact, as I said, the impact of the disease can be severe on banana production. And in the 1960s, TR4, risk 4, was first discovered in Taiwan. Now, then that disease spread through Southeast Asia, China, Indonesia, and then to Africa. But we never thought that disease would reach the Latin America and the Caribbean region so quickly. Okay. And last year the disease was discovered identified in Colombia. And as you know, in Colombia, Latin American countries, they have acreages of bananas. Now, the once affected with the disease, probably the first move is to try and reduce the spread. And they went ahead and declared acres of bananas. But in St. Lucia, we don't have the acreage to do that.
So they destroyed
acreages to prevent the spread of the disease. Okay. Take for example, if you have your plantation and one plant is affected, you see an affected plant. Mm-hmm. It means, well, 7.5 meters in a circle, you have to destroy all the plants in that area. Yeah, and then you have to, and then you have to use probably a plastic, use a chemical called methyl bromide to disinfect, and we're going to cover it.
Okay.
So as you can see, this disease, the best form of control for this disease presently is prevention.
Okay. Now, tell us, how does that disease operate in the physiological part of the plant?
Okay. Basically, the disease enters the plant through the root system. Now, when it enters the plant through the root, it affects the vascular bundles. Now, in the vascular bundles, you have the xylem vessels that transport water to the plant. Then you have the phloem vessels that take food from the where it is produced in the leaves, and then distribute the food to the plant. Signs and symptoms, there is what is called the yellowing syndrome. Now, with the yellowing syndrome, the symptoms will start from the older leaves and then move upward to the younger leaves. Now, the other symptom that is very important is that the plant may stay green and the plant is still affected. Now, with that disease, you will find collapsing of the leaves. The leaves will fall around the plant, forming a skirt-like structure. In terms of the pseudostem, the pseudostem, you'll see splitting of the pseudostem. Now, if you were to cut the pseudostem, you will see the damaged discoloration of the vascular tissues in the plant.
Okay. Now, okay, how does it really affect the vascular bundles, in the sense that it starts from the roots,
yes,
okay, and then the roots uptick the fungus,
yes,
and then it
multiply in the roots.
It multiplies. But how does it really get to the root system?
Now, it may get through the root system because of the root may be damaged by other. Well, the big issue is this: you have with TR4, you have tropical and subtropical species. Now, for the subtropical species, you need what is called a predisposing factor, something that will damage the root so that the organism will get through. But with TR4, the tropical risk, you does not need no
break in the
root tissues so that the organism can get through. The organism can get into the root through
the uptick,
its own damage.
Okay. And then, how long will you see the effect of that disease as it manifests itself in the plant?
Well, as the roots get affected, it means, well, if you cannot get the water uptake, the food cannot be distributed in the plant, so the plant is going to wilt.
All right.
So you find, as I said, the leaves are going to collapse. The product, you will see loss of vigor, chlorosis, because the plant will not be able to take nutrients. The plant will be starving for nutrients and so on. Okay.
So, but then in terms of the time frame, how long will the plant take to die? In other words, by the time it becomes affected, how long does it take?
As I said, that will depend on the inoculum pressure.
Okay.
Some plants may take a few days, while some may take, as I said, the plant may be affected, but the plant still looking green.
Right.
Some of the plant may go through fruiting, and that fruit you'll not be able to harvest because you'll have pre-ripening of the fruit and so on. So that will vary.
So in essence, it's going to affect production.
Yes, definitely.
And there's nothing that can be done to actually prevent the spread of it at this point. But however, we do for a break. Yeah. After the break, I want us to expand on it to say exactly what can be done to actually prevent that disease from getting into St. Lucia. Right. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Stay tuned, we'll be back soon. Banana farmers, remember me? I destroyed the Gros Michel banana variety some years ago. Now, my cousin, Tropical Risk 4 or TR4, a Fusarium Wilt banana disease, is on the horizon in a more aggressive form and can wipe out the banana industry in a flash. Be vigilant. Don't bring any banana plants or plant tissue into the island. Report any unusual symptoms on your banana plots to the Department of Agriculture at telephone 468-5600 or the extension officer in your area. Remember, protect our vital banana industry. Welcome back to the program Agriculture on the Move, and of course we are discussing a banana disease that is just looming. It's on the horizon. It's not here yet, but we need to be prepared for any time that it gets here. We're talking about the tropical race 4, which is a Fusarium Wilt disease in banana production. Cletus, moving forward, now we know what to expect from that disease, and based on what you're saying, it's very aggressive and it can wipe out the industry. What is in place to really prevent that disease from coming into St. Lucia? What are the protocols?
There are very important pathways for this disease. The tourism industry, as you know, we depend a lot on tourism. Persons may, take for example, in Colombia, the disease is in Colombia. Persons may visit Colombia and come in St. Lucia. Now, very important is the movement of soil. This should be prohibited. Movement of planting material, especially, as you know, in the banana industry, we tend to import a lot of tissue culture plants. Mm-hmm. That we have to revisit, because it may be transported through movement of plants and plant tissue. Mm-hmm. As I said, soil is very important. Those countries that we are trading with, the equipment that they use in the country, we have to be very important.
So in other words, if you contractor decide to import a tractor or use the tractor, all right, it has to be well disinfected, fumigated before it gets to St. Lucia.
Most definitely, because you will not take the chance with the movement of soil, because with machinery you may have soil particles there. Tools.
Now, how long does that stay in soil particles? Well,
research is showing that this disease, it may stay dormant in soil for about 20 years.
Wow.
Because when the disease is discovered in a country, it means, well, the disease has been there for a while. Mm-hmm. Because I said the spores may stay dormant for at least 20 years.
Okay.
So we at the point of entry, it's very important now that we disinfect persons, especially the shoes. Presently, we're looking at putting foot bath at the major port of entry. We're looking at, especially around the doors and so on, where persons unknowingly, especially on the mats and so on, they will put the disinfectant, unknowingly you will just walk on the mat and then your shoes may be disinfected. But the problem is that it's not perfect. While maybe, because on your shoelaces, you may have soil particles on your shoes, and especially on some of your pants and things.
But can the spores stay on your clothing? Say, for example, you are in an infected field, yeah, and you walk through. Can the spores stay on your clothing, and how long can it stay on your clothing to be active?
It's soil-borne.
Oh, it is soil-borne.
It's a soil-borne. So it's a soil-borne disease. It's not spread through spores.
Okay.
It can be spread from farm to farm. Take for example, if the soil stuff, especially during the dry season, what is called wind erosion. If the soil is dry and you're moving of soil particles via the wind, you can spread the disease like this.
Okay.
And as you were saying, we have to biosanitary measures. We have to improve on this. If the disease get here, we have to, especially at the farm level, you have to disinfect your tool. You have to take for example, somebody is working for you and the person is working for the neighbor. After the person complete a job on your farm, if the person decides to go and do a half day on the neighbor's farm, the shoes, the tools, the clothing have to be disinfected as a precautionary measure.
Okay. What about resistant varieties? Have they, over the years, have they developed any varieties that are resistant or tolerable to the disease?
Well, presently there are lots of researchers working on tolerant varieties. In Australia, they're doing what is called the genetic modification of the banana plant. But as you know, a lot of persons are worried about genetic modifications, because with genetic modification, you may put a gene from a bacteria in a banana plant, and we are involved in banana trade. Okay. Sometimes the market that we are targeting may not be interested in genetic modification. Okay. And also there's that particular variety from the Israelis, the Gal variety, is tolerant. They claim it's tolerant to TR4. And there are other varieties from Taiwan and some other countries that is claimed to be tolerant to TR4. But it's still at the research stage, and we around the world, scientists are monitoring what is going on with regards to tolerant varieties.
You mentioned Taiwan, and you know Taiwan, when it comes to agriculture, they are up there. How have they controlled, or in some way, what have they done with that disease?
Well, as I said, it was discovered in Taiwan, and Taiwan, they've done a lot of research in terms of tolerant varieties, because they have tolerant varieties in Taiwan. But the problem with tolerant varieties, they may not be marketable, as we saw with
it may not be palatable.
Because, a lot of persons are not consuming those the tolerant varieties.
Okay. Now, right now, as we said, we started a vigorous campaign, right? We started with television, PSAs and whatever, and radio. Moving forward, in addition to that, what other medium can we use to sensitize the public as far as that disease is concerned?
Well, we've been on radio, we've been on TV, but as an extensionist, you know, sometimes we need to get feedback from the farmer.
Right.
We don't know how many persons watching those programs, but we need to go out there, do more outreach programs. We need to do farmers meetings. The traveling public, we need to sensitize them as to the movement of the planting material, movement of soil, and so on. Because you know, Mr. Sydney, people will find a way when they bring in planting material, they will not declare it and so on. So we need to strengthen our quarantine at the ports. We need to do especially what is called disease surveillance. Because with disease surveillance, if the disease is here, we need to detect early so that we can take early action. Because early action will sort of limit the spread of the disease. Because if we allow the disease to spread in your country, you may find yourself in a
When you say early action, say for example, tomorrow somebody reports some symptoms and you said, yes, it is TR4. What's the first thing you do?
First thing we'll do is take samples.
Okay.
Find a reference lab quickly for diagnosis. If the diagnosis confirm that the disease is present, first of all, you'll have to prevent the movement of immediately planting material from that area. You'll try to destroy some of the infected plants. You'll try to disinfect the soil. As I said, movement of any planting material. You'll have to implement what is called biosanitary measures. Persons should not be allowed to visit the farm. The farm should be cordoned, fenced, so that people will not walk through the farm at will, and so on.
Okay.
That's one of the measures that we can take immediately.
But what's other medium in terms of media publicity, apart from radio, television? What's about billboards and other things like this?
Sure, we need to go out there, put especially what is called academic posters, posters that can convey information to people about TR4, because it's a very as you said, it's looming, it's in our doorstep. We need to educate people in school children. All of us, all stakeholders in the banana industry should be sensitized.
Get on board.
Get on board.
Great. Okay, we're taking another break. We are due for a second break. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know? All the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth. All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from Rise St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
The good food
Welcome back to the program, Agriculture on the Move. Comme ça, nous allons parler un petit langue maman nous allons parler un petit quoi parce que nous savons chaque monde dans la passe, nous voulons un chaque femme et puis l'autre monde cette lycée peuple cette lycée savent concerné vermine ça qui il peut arriver cette lycée et moi dire ça hope bon Dieu nous pas joindre vermine ça tuer cette lycée parce que si ça venir cette lycée bal fini vous comprenez parce et donc c'est fait là important pour cette lycée et puis peuple cette lycée nous ne pouvons faire ça nous paye pour chaîne des ça avec vermine ça dans cette lycée comme dit monsieur Alexander dis-nous pour peuple qui a coûté en créole langage nous dis-nous vite concernant vermine ça côté il commencé et côté actuellement.
Well, comme nous dit this is pas neuf en Caribbean parce research qui a monté risk 1 et risk 2 ça distribué on la terre parce this is en 1950s là il a créé ça Panama disease et disease ça tant ça notre cap machin chat Gros Michel nous ça femme monter mais Gros Michel ça Gros Michel dou Gros Michel bail so ça fait avec ça ou pas quand même Gros Michel encore parce ça affecte Gros Michel tellement mauvais nous pas quand même Gros Michel encore now this is ça TR4 il découvert en Taiwan en 1960s là now this is ça spread tellement fast from Taiwan it spread Asia ça nous Southeast Asia côté comme China Indonesia et then this is ça spread à l'Afrique et pour un petit temps pour aller Afrique mais ça nous pas quoi this is ça qui aller nous en Caribbean en région caribéenne Latin America autant pour nous autant bonnet et l'année passée this is ça trouvé quoi Colombia et en Colombia chaque bail était fait les découvert this is là en chaque acte en figure te just couper tout because pas les disease d'aspect vous voulez contrôler et then vous servez en chimique et nous savons chimique ça vous servez nous savons chimique là vous servez ça chimique qui ban mais pas tenir pesticides c'est quoi chimique qui fait bromide vous servez en terre vous couvert terre et qu'on pour quitter terre at least de l'année avant de planter rien dedans et ça vous advise c'est crop rotation bon c'est ici nous pas qualité pour nous faire qualité bagage ça là ça fait très important that nous pas quitter bagage ça venir là nous et ça nous faire encore nous pour préparer une bien qu'on hurricane nous pour préparer parce que quand nous savons nous pas savons délai nous try wait pour pas venir mais si il vient nous pourra préparer pour ça nous pourra mettre en place nous faire nous présentement nous faire un task force pour la chaque agency qui travaille en laisse ça pour nous try empêcher des diseases à venir regionally nous ça qui a emergency action plan ça organisation qui ORISA, FAO, yo tout involve en mettre action plan ça plan. Nous ni action plan ça, mais nous pour point ces sections nous nous ça implémenter en ici et fait ça. Mais nous pour faire un spécifiquement pour pays nous. Nous pour faire ça avec un pest risk analysis. On est pour garder les pays by ça venir qui risque. Nous savons qui risque là c'est nous un gros risque en pet industry ça. Et comme ça nous comme fixer un bon pattern ça nous qui food security nous chaque monde comme fig you comme macambo you comme différents bail comme ça et par là about TR4 c'est ça les premiers risques ça comme dans 50 that risk 1 n'a affecté Gros Michel là la terre lucky la tenir c'est qui Cavendish variety c'est variety nous qu'a planté à présent nous tout trade la continue mais TR4 il a affecté tout bagaille qui a affecté ça c'est important that nous préparer avant garder pour nous faire research en ces variétés à nous faire qui ça toléré là try mettre en place ici so si il vient là nous ça point ces variétés ça multiplier tissue culture quickly avec ba femme aller
donc qui manière diff c'est pepset ici qui manière vermine ça travaille en fig là vermine ça travaille
comme ça bon l'année about 30 risks 40 risks disease you dit l'année ça va que subtropical risk et que tropical risk bon malman nous ça qui est plus mauvais nous avec affecté nous c'est tropical countries et que ça pas besoin rien parce que l'autre ça besoin ba pour ça nous qui plus disposer plan en ba pour dire les racines nan couper racines affecter racines pour fungus nan mais avec ça il a fait dommage li pas quoi il quand tuer il quand un plan premièrement il quand un racine plan les autres racines plan il quand tuer dedans plan même il a affecté c'est bah là c'est tissus qui a porté glomonté et qui a porté ça les manger a fait là ça qui a porté descendre il a soit affecté bon sous pas ça rien manger pour manger ou pas ça rien glo pour faible comment tout monde est faible ou est mort Si là ça fait, si fait là commence à casser, il va tomber au lion plan. Même qu'on a jeep en madame. Si vous avez un bel jeep qui a fait au lion là. Now, l'autre bail là c'est ça. Plan peut affecté, mais ou pas avoir pièce sans dans plan affecté. Les plans jeté il fait figue là. Vous avez figue ça pas bon pour ça. Pour ça vendre. Figue là ça nous a plus mature ripe, puis il a mis en pierre. Il a mis en pierre ça va. So ça perd de laver la main excier à terre.
Mais qu'est-ce qu'on fait actuellement pour protéger cette lycée horde vermin ça là?
Pour protéger cette lycée nous avons fait des monde. Pas mener pièces, spécialement figue. Pas mener pièces plan figue l'autre pays avec mes séries en bac ou sous casse l'autre pays avec venir ici.
Oui.
Pas point pièce il peut se faire là parce que mon ou travel mon fait un chapeau il de bail figue bail ou point venir ici. Pas mener ça venir ici. Si ou quand travel en d'un côté ou savent qui est TR4 à côté de Colombia, lorsqu'on vient en place là nettoyer sous l'eau pas venir avec la boue en dedans sous l'eau. Machine sous quand travaille l'autre pays ou quand travaille coûte là ou quand travaille bout sous pas point bout ça c'est oui en dedans bago en mandel là ouvrir monde pas ouais bout sous bien là bout bagaille comme ça nous pas faire ça sous quand travaille l'autre pays bout sous coûte là ou quitter l'autre pays là vient laisser nous advise à toi acheter un coûte là et qu'on fait un bail là où vend les poids ça nous quand tu faire c'est mettez ça nous quand qui en foot bath especially là c'est soupir qu'on ka passer nous ka marcher mesita disinfectant dans les disinfectant qui ça en chaque pays qui a servi c'est quoi que quaternary ammonium ça même bail qui a servi en COVID-19 quoi c'est ça so nous ka mettre ça à terre alors passer sur l'eau ou ka marcher sur il ka disinfect sous les ba although qu'on nous ka dit pas 100% because on les laisse sous l'eau on les chill tout peine là bout et ouais travailler en les comment de passer habitation monde bagaille comme ça so ça c'est bail là nous ka faire nous ka also faire un emergency action plan. Ça c'est un plan qu'on fait emergency avant emergency strike ou qu'on met plan en place. So qu'on dit si il vient là ou a préparé plan ça, so qu'on juste activer plan ça.
Alors bah qui est important nous quitter baliser est-ce que c'est même famille
well research pas kamouché qui a fait baliser mais là ni research kamouché les wild weed species zeb dans zeb il a été en dedans zeb là because qu'on nous voit dans side by zeb c'est un bail ka disease ka west en dedans so là ni des wild species en zeb il a west
but Cletus, thank you for that in the Creole. But as you're about to end, you have any final words to tell St. Lucian again what they should look out for and what they should not do? Quickly.
Well, we should be vigilant. The banana industry belongs to all of us. Bananas, as I said, it's a very important part of our food security. Now, government, as we know, our food import bill is in excess of $400 million. The country cannot afford the importation of bananas. That is what is going to happen to us if we are not careful. If we cannot prevent this disease from coming into the country, if we cannot put all the mitigative actions in place presently, that is what is going to happen to us. We're going to have to import bananas, plantain, macambo, very important crops for our food security.
Okay.
We may have to import these.
Cletus, thank you very much for being here. And of course, our food import bill has not reached 400 million.
Closely, but it's close.
It's 374 last year.
It's close.
But our food security, we need to protect that.
Yes, we have to.
So thank you again for being here. Right? We have been watching Agriculture on the Move. Banana farmers, be serious on that. And that's a serious threat to our vital industry. So please, if you see any symptoms that you're not accustomed to, please call the ministry or ensure you contact your extension officer in your immediate area. Remember, agriculture is our business. And eat fresh. St. Lucia's best. The money stays here. Thank you for viewing. I'm Phillip Sydney. Goodbye.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.